Hi everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen. I'm going to show you today how to make this heavy metal themed skull out of gum paste you see here. Now check out the video. If you like it, please like, subscribe so you can find me again, and here we go. Alright, I'm going to be taking white gum paste and hollowing it out and rolling it around to make kind of like a white bowl. This is going to become the skull. I didn't do the mandible, I just did the top part of the head. So once you get it kind of rounded out and hollow enough, then you start to shape it. You're going to want it very round, very smooth for now, but have the front, you can see I'm kind of pressing down there with my thumb. That's going to separate out where the eye socket and the nose is going to be from the top teeth. So I'm going to just keep smoothing it out, keep it round, and it's not perfectly round. It's actually more kind of like, it's round on the top but longer, kind of like an ostrich egg if you think of it like that. So that's kind of the shape you want to aim for here. I'm rubbing and rubbing and getting the feel of it. I'm going to put my finger underneath where the front teeth are going to be, and I'm going to start curving upward. This is going to separate the upper teeth from the cheekbones, the zygomatic bone, and everything else in there. And it gives it kind of that, I don't know, more of the look of the separated teeth that you're used to seeing in stereotypical like pirate movies and stuff. Okay, so once you get that, make sure you flatten the front. You don't want it sticking out like a duckbill. You just want it to come out a little bit and then go down. As the way the bone holds the teeth, it goes straight down. That's why we don't have teeth that stick straight out in front of us. Or if we did, we have braces and fixed it. Okay, again, just separating it out some more. You can see I'm now pressing in just very gently a little bit. I made marks where the eye socket's going to be and where the nasal cavity is going to be. I'm using this big ball tool here, and you just shove it in and start lifting. You don't want to just shove it in and press to make a dent. You want to push it in and then lift and, circle it out in order to maintain, all the density around it as well. You don't want your optical ridges and everything to start collapsing on you. Okay, so I'm using the bone tool still. You can see that they're not too deep, but we're just going to keep working at them. And I'm hollowing out a groove between the two eyes. Again, this is supposed to be for a heavy metal cake. It's not supposed to be, realistically as human as possible. I was going for more like a monster or demon type of a skull. Using my rolling pin tool, as you saw, shoved it in there, hollowed out the eyes some more, used that little knife part there, and cut a slit right up the center. Now stick your tool in, or whatever you're using, and start lifting and pulling out. When you look at a skull, you'll see that the area around the nose, the nasal area, is really rough and raggedy. It's not a nice smooth area. It's kind of jaggedy where it attaches to the cartilage in the nose. And that's the look you're going for here. So it's not smooth, it's not pretty and clean, it's wrinkly and wiggly. Flare out the bottoms as you saw to make the typical triangle shape for the sinuses, and yeah, okay, you got the nose going. Now I'm going to press in on the side here. As you can see, I'm just putting a mark kind of on the cheek. It's behind that groove that we made. This is going to be the space between the zygomatic bone and the rest of the skull. It's where the jaw muscles would go through to attach to your head. So we are going to create that arch, that bridge right there. And you want to do it a little at a time. You just don't want to go, whole hog and start cranking on it. So as you can see, I kind of pressed in and pressed down a little bit and created a bit of a gully. And then once again, back to the eyes, shaping it up. It's going to move around and lose its shape as you work on it, which is why I'm going to keep reshaping it. Now I'm making the front, the upper mandible, a little bit more, I don't know if that's the correct term, sorry if it's not, a little bit more sharp, and cut it. That's why I cut those edges off. Once again, going in the eyes. And you can see I'm pressing down when I did it to give it more of an eyebrow too. Now I'm rounding off the teeth, or where the teeth are going to be, a little bit, make it a little smoother, a little nicer. And now I'm going underneath the eye socket to create kind of a area, just indentation there. It's a big area underneath, and those are little foramens, the little pokes I just did there. Those are holes in the skulls where blood vessels go through. So you want to add little details like that. There's also foramens above the eye sockets, which I think I do add later, but they ended up getting lost in time. All right, so back again to the cheekbones where those are going to be. Making sure you don't lose that lift, that little edge that flips the bone, that flips the teeth, separates it from the skull itself. And highlighting again underneath the eyes. So it's a lot of retouching. Going back in some more for the eyebrow. I'm going above it to give it more of a menacing look, kind of a angry, I'm a monster and I died angry look. See, you can really see it kind of coming out here. Now I'm digging in deep onto those those cheekbones there. You can see I stick it in and I'm wiggling it and I'm starting to break through. You can see that it's starting to break through there. And that it's in itself, it just gives it a better look. And again, because it is hollow, you're going to lose its shape. You got to have to keep reshaping that sucker. Rounding off the front where the teeth are going to be once again. And I had a problem with the skull because I was working on it for so long. It was drying out a little bit. If this happens with you, you can use Crisco. Take a little bit of Crisco, rub it on your palms, and then rub it over the surfaces that you want to stay moist and pliable. This way they won't dry out, they won't crack, you'll still be able to mold them. And it does eventually dry, so it won't leave it shiny or greasy. You don't have to worry about that. Using the veining tool there, I just made a line across. That's going to separate the teeth from the skull itself. I know it looks kind of like he's got a top and bottom jaw, but it's not. Those grooves I'm putting in there are just the marks inside the skull where the roots of the teeth are anchored. So that's what I'm doing there, trying to give that impression. And it kind of pulled down a little bit because, again, it doesn't sit perfectly flat and nice and neat. And you're going to see I'm going to make sure that the shape is good, that they're not sticking out too far or too weird. Hollowing out those cheeks a little more because they're going to get moved. See that one I managed to break through, I believe. Yep, I'm doing it from the bottom too. So there you can really see it kind of came out a little bit. And once you get those little zygomatic bridges out, just pull them out a little bit. Don't leave them flat against the skull. They do stick out a little. That's why we have cheekbones, and big cheekbones are so desirable. That's what's doing it right there. Those little bones right there. Okay, so I just jump all over the place with this skull. All right, so once you got it all nice and shaped, you're going to take your knife right up the middle, start making lines, roll your blade up, and that's going to make your teeth. Make as many as you want, just don't make them too big or too small, or it's going to look really weird. They're going to look tall and everything. I'm adding the extra lines to bring them up into the skull itself, the roots of the skull. And yeah, there you go. You got your teeth. Okay, once you get it like this, once again, going in the nose, going in the eyes, make sure they're nice and deep and angled. I'm kind of pinching it against my finger to make the ridge stand out around the eye socket a little sharper. Again, giving it more of a sinister kind of a look. It's not a perfectly round. It's more, as you can see, kind of squared off. Now I am adding these marks in the skull. I thought these were called fontanelles, but they are not. The fontanelle is a little hole in your baby's head, but that eventually closes up. So these are just plain old sutures. And you've got the one, it kind of makes like, you need three of them. One main one up the back, the two toward each eye socket. There's one that goes around the side of where your ear would be. It kind of goes around there. I'm adding some little lines and zigzags here and there just to throw some extra ones in. Like I said, not perfectly anatomically correct, but it looks darn cool, okay? So once again, make sure your cheekbones are sticking out. Make sure you've got details coming out for the roots. Make sure your nose is all raggedy. And that's pretty much it. I ended up going over my skull with a little bit of ivory colored food coloring and water. I just painted over it, went a little heavy on the lines and the sockets to make it really stand out. So you guys can too, leave it white, whatever you want to do. I'm just making sure, like I said before, that mine was kind of a monster, making sure he's got a heavy eyebrow, he's angry and nasty. Make sure that behind the teeth that comes up just the way it should there. And there you go. Check it out. It's actually a pretty bad tookus skull. So hopefully you like this video. Check out my other ones. If you guys make anything, send me some pictures. I'd love to see them. Thank you very much. Bye.